Beloved, I pray that you prosper in all things and be in health as your soul prospers. Hello, YouTube. My name is Dion. This is my first time coming to YouTube, and I do believe that this is the season that God is pushing me to do this. I plan on documenting this entire journey that I'm about to embark on with my daughter. This is phase 2, I guess. My daughter suffered from severe eczema. Now we're dealing with food allergies, gastro issues, and asthma. Well, I believe this is the time to document this because I'm trusting God, and I know that her healing is just over the horizon. So we're going to walk this thing out, and I'm going to join her in the process. And the purpose of me doing the video is because I'm coming across so many people that are actually dealing with the same issues. To no avail, they have not had any relief or healing from it. I started this journey, been 11 years now. My daughter's 11. I have 2 sons as well, 7 and 13, but neither one of them have any issues at all. And she's the one that has it. When she was 2 months old, she got her 2-month-old shots, and from that moment, within like 24 to 48 hours, she completely turned red with rashes all over her body. It started from her neck, and then it went all over her body. So I'm thinking at the time, you know, maybe this is something that I ate because I was breastfeeding her that didn't agree with her system. But I don't believe in coincidence. And of course, checking with the doctors, oh, it's fine. And
waiting for connection.
Great. There's nothing wrong with the, you know, I'm not going to even go into that. But anyway, looking into different creams, Aveeno baths, oatmeal baths, any and everything that I could use to help would not alleviate the redness. So then she starts to itch like mad. Now, she started to squirm a lot, and it's the minute I'd walk away from her to do anything, you know, she's laying on the bed or whatever, I come back and she literally has figured out how to scratch herself with her nails. She had her little feet in action as well, scratching on her leg. Everywhere she scratched was bleeding. So of course, I put the socks on her hand, little socks on her feet, her little mittens, and lo and behold, she'd figure out a way to pull those things off of her hands, and she would literally start scratching. So I'm asking other moms around, you know, have you experienced this? What did you put on your baby? So none of them had that. They just told me some topical things. So I tried every single thing. It just got worse and worse and worse. She never stopped. This went on for 4 years. So breakthrough came. I'm fast forwarding because I didn't want this to take very long, but this is an introduction video. I have to share this. So for 4 years, we dealt with this. So took her to the doctor finally after doing some research and seeing that there were other mothers complaining about once they got their babies the shots, they started developing eczema, and I mean, it was horrible. So I started making the connection. I'm like, I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. So go to the doctor, new pediatrician, and the doctor looks at her. I don't say anything. He just asked, you know, what has been going on with her, and I was like, well, you can look at her and see she has these rashes, and she's been itching nonstop. I told him everything I tried. So he looks at her, and he has this frown on his face, and he's like, So I finally spoke up and I said, well, this looks like eczema. So he's like, I think you're right. So in my mind, maybe I'm the overzealous mom, but I'm thinking, did I just have to tell him that? But you're the professional. So I'm like, no, you're overthinking it. So anyway, he says yes. He prescribes a cream. Use the cream. Cream doesn't work. Okay. So after this, I'm reaching out to everybody. My husband's family, my sister-in-law, they're all giving me ideas on what to do. They're from Jamaica. So we had the carbolic soap, we had the CRC, we had the bitter herbs, we had everything, but nothing worked. I tried every brand of soap and lotion for sensitive skin, whatever they were using for atopical what is it? Escapes me. Anything to do with the skin. So at this point, I'm like, okay, let's see a dermatologist. So the dermatologist gives me creams, gives me suggestions on some type of syrup medicine to ingest. Well, that didn't work. My baby was a guinea pig. So after years of trying and changing a diet, I changed my diet thinking maybe something I'm ingesting because she was breastfed is affecting her system. So I literally had to begin taping the socks on her hands and feet. I have photos of her 1-year-old photo. She got socks on her hands and she has her little hand on her arm because she was scratching then. I had to bring her home full time because the daycare couldn't care for her because it was so severe. There was no comfort. My baby would not sleep but 35-40 minutes. I'm not exaggerating, every night. She'd wake up and whatever side she was laying on, she starts scratching and scratching. I comfort her. She's looking at me like, "Mommy, help." And I couldn't. That look in her eye, it just made me just cry. And I was just crying out to God, like, please help. Please help. I'm trusting you, the healer that heals. Kept going through this process, and I would get her to finally get her to sleep. And the only way I could comfort her was in my arms. And holding her close after a while would begin to bother her because of the heat from my body and her body is making her uncomfortable. She would always squirm and always trying to scratch. And after a while, she'd fall asleep. And everywhere she touched me, it was always would look like a ringworm in the spot where she had been up on me. So I'm like, something's going on. She's acidic. I knew this was something that's going on internal, and understanding the internal inflammation, so I did everything everyone suggested for me to do. I bathed my baby in bleach. I got so desperate for trying to get relief for her that I even used a diaper, a pee-filled diaper. I put the diaper around her leg and seeing if that would work. And after a while, it cleared up the spot. But eventually it came back because I was like, what am I supposed to do? The smell is there. Soak her in pee? I mean, that was so rough. Then she had it in her scalp. The back of her head was bleeding. When I say head to toe, down to her toes, in between toes, was cracked and bleeding. And all the doctor kept saying was just keep her lubricated and moisturized. And, I did all those things. So after a while, I got really tired of going back and forth to the doctors. Nothing was working. The specialist, nothing worked. And fast forward, almost age 4, she was a child that did not play with other kids because she was too busy being miserable. She spent 10, maybe 15 minutes distracted with other kids, and then after a while, she's over in the corner scratching, just miserable. People would speak to her, "Hi, Destiny," and she's just like, like, leave me alone. And I was like, okay, well, I had to homeschool her. I was trying to teach her any and every subject that I knew she would need in school. So she absorbed everything like a sponge. So I said, maybe we'll try to put her in daycare maybe once, twice a week, just to see, kind of, wean her off me at home. Go to the daycare. The director, I have a conversation, explain she can't be in the sun for 5-10 minutes and this will happen, and she can't have this, she can't. So the director's like, "Mom, let me stop you. I've been doing this for 20 years and all children need to be out in the sun, get some vitamin D. I'm like, I understand. But she's like, wait. Have you gone to the doctor? And I said, well, no. She said, all I'll need is a letter from the doctor explaining. And she said, we can make accommodations for your baby. I'm like, okay. So I leave there and I'm like, all right, God, I'm trusting you in this process. So fast forward, my dad passes away in 2015. By this time, my youngest is 6 months old. So I ended up, my mom had to come with us, and in the process, she needed to have her hip replaced. So we go to the hospital, and her recovery, the day she's having her surgery, and then she's in recovery. So I'm in the hospital room, and I go out with my kids. Now this is what got me. I went out with my kids. When I came back in the room, the nurse was there speaking with my husband, and my mom was pretty much, you know, out of it. She's recovered. She's real groggy. She's coming to. So the nurse just openly starts this conversation with me about her daughter having this severe eczema, and I'm wondering to myself, did my husband explain to her of something? So when I asked him later, he said no. I knew my mom didn't say anything. So she starts to tell me about what her daughter went through, and when she mentioned the part that she's like, what am I doing with this white child? Because she lost all of her pigment. And I'm just like, really never heard that. She said she lost all of her pigment. It was so bad. She was getting pure cocoa butter from the islands. She was from the islands as well. She was trying to use everything natural. Same here. So she said it wasn't until she got this cream, and the cream worked, and I'm thinking to myself, she said her pigment came back and now she's better. She gave me the name of the cream. She got it from the doctor. So I'm already thinking, well, I don't know. I put the name in my phone, texted to myself just to be on the safe side. I didn't forget. Because at this point, I was so done with doctors. No disrespect to any doctors. It was just very frustrating. So, gotta go get my baby in daycare. So I make the doctor's appointment. I go in to the doctor she hadn't seen in a while. She's like, yes, I can see she's still dealing with severe eczema. So she prescribes this cream. Now, mind you, this cream was given to me years prior. It did not work, so I totally forgot. So when she gave me the prescription, said, you know, this is what we'll use. And I'm like, wait, this sounds familiar. So I look in the phone. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the same cream. So I'm like, you know what? God is so intentional, because he already knew I was going to say no, and I wasn't going to try anything else. But this time I was given a huge jar. So what I ended up doing that night, got the jar, I'm slathering it all over my hands, and I start rubbing it all over my baby. So she starts to scream, mommy, it burns, and she's crying. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I know, but we have to try this. So, because her skin was just raw, you know, it's open because she's constantly scratching. And so eventually she kind of relaxed a little bit, because she was so tense, just frozen, you know, from me rubbing it all over her. I rubbed her from head to toe, from the neck down. She didn't have anything on her face. And by this time, her hair was growing in spots where she had ripped it all out. And that night, mind you, I said before, she slept 30 to 45 minutes. Between the 30 and 45-minute window is the best we could do with sleep. And I wasn't sleeping with her, because I was the only one that could comfort her. My boys and my husband were asleep fine. So after about an hour, I realized, I'm like, wait, Destiny, she's not calling me. I'm like, maybe I missed her. So I asked my husband, and I'm like, did you hear Destiny? Did she call you? Did you check on her? And he's like, oh, no. So I run upstairs, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what did the cream do? So I'm like, did I put too much on, or what? So I run upstairs, and I'm like, let me go check to see if she's breathing. And I see her chest rising and falling. I hear her breath. And I'm like, she's asleep. She's asleep. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And so I just tipped out the room, and I'm just looking at her like, oh my gosh, she's sleeping. She's not squirming. She was sleeping so hard. Oh my goodness. So anyway, Couple hours pass and I'm like, okay, she's still not awake. This baby slept all night until the next day when the sun came up. That was like, oh, breakthrough. She had not slept in 4 years. It was right at 4 years. She had not slept one night through. That night she did it. The next morning, I'm up before she is. I'm like, let me see. But she's still asleep. So she gets up and she comes to find me. And then I'm like, good morning, just watching her. And she's like, good morning. She normally woke up miserable, the scowl on her face, and she's already scratching. That morning, it was like she was a new person. She had relief. I'm watching her and I'm like, all day like a hawk. She did not reach into one spot to scratch. So I could not believe it. I was like, okay. I was just like, thank you, God. Just praising God all day long. And I was like, it was this cream. And I was just like, God knew. He knew I was going to say no, but she needed it this time. So, and I felt that, you know what? It was time for her. So walking in faith. Well, anyway, we get over that. And even today, she's 11. She has like minor issues. The back of her, the creases of one of her arms every now and then on her finger. That's it. That is it. But we have to deal with the asthma, and we have to deal with her food allergies, and now we're dealing with this intense pain of her stomach, and she's throwing up. She was in the hospital for 3 days. They did a biopsy. They didn't find anything. They did a upper and lower GI, nothing. Mind you, she already has a limited diet. So she's not eating any foods that would trigger anything. I've had allergy testing done. She's had blood tests done. She's allergic to so many different things. Of course, the pollens and nuts and dairy and fish and all of this and that. She doesn't eat any of it. Got her tested. We even found out she is allergic to chicken, turkey, and beef was the lowest one. So the allergist himself said, we even tested for her. Let me say this. At one point I thought it was just her, like being picky. I don't want to eat this. And if she doesn't want to eat something, she's going to, oh, my throat. It hurts. Her lip starts to burn and all that. But she really did have an allergic reaction to bananas. And it was a few other vegetables. So he himself was like, I have never seen this before. One person, a child, could be allergic to so many things. So the remedy he was talking about was giving her shots so that the shot could actually build up the resistance to the histamines in her body, whatever that was going to allow her to eat without reaction or something to that nature. So when he did the testing on her back, her entire back was lit up. I'll show images of that. But this is real. So this is where we are today. So my baby can eat. And he said, as far as the protein goes, she's going to have to eat lots of beans. So she does, fortunately, love to eat black beans. So she has broccoli, black beans. Her staple is jasmine rice. And we do salad squeezed with lemon juice and broccoli. But it has to have ketchup with it. And, of course, it's organic ketchup with no high fructose corn syrup. Now, the thing with this, it took a while to get that many items on a plate. She'll do plantains every now and then. Go figure. Plantains don't bother her, but bananas, regular bananas do. And I'm like, they're all in a banana family? I don't know. So I have allergies, had hay fever as a kid, and still deal with it now when seasons change, the pollen in the air. My husband has asthma. So I guess our combination just, I don't know. So the process that we're about to start is, I've been doing a lot of research trying to find out, who else is dealing with this. And I came across, by no coincidence, the beautiful Chef Babette out of California. She's the one that she's in her 70s. She looks fabulous. And she's like, the perfect picture of what a 70-something-year-old woman should look like and experience a life full of fulfillment and health. Well, she also had the very same thing: eczema, allergies, digestive problems. So she got healed by changing her diet, you know. So, but I'm scratching my head because I'm like, well, my daughter doesn't eat the wrong things. So I'm documenting this journey because I believe that healing is going to be at the end of this. So what I plan on doing, I'm reading up on a lot of things that Chef Babette said. She also had read the book Fit for Life, Volume 1 and 2. And I actually have that in my bag. And then I've already started on 1. And then the mucusless diet. Mind you, my daughter doesn't eat any meat. Why are we having this problem if she's a vegetarian? Something is going on. So I'm just trying to get us back to what God intended for us, to be healthy. Now, I know I don't completely count out traditional medicines. And I know there are doctors out there that who do practice whole, getting us back to wholeness, you know. So I'm not completely shutting the door on them, but the holistic approach is what I want. I myself became, I guess you would call it a pescatarian, whatever, because I went through a whole process of a year of raw, and it was life-changing. Oh my gosh. It changed my life. It was the best thing that happened to me. I did not go back to eating chicken and turkey, and I had given up red meat a long time ago, but that really changed my life. And so I wanted my daughter to understand that I was in this with her, so she doesn't feel like she has to go at it alone, because sometimes it's frustrating, as she can see. We sit at a restaurant or parties or family gatherings, whatever, and everyone else can eat whatever they want, but we always have to bring her food. We have to prepare to take it with us. She can only eat at the restaurant. The only thing she can eat is rice, potatoes, and broccoli, and salad if it has nothing else in it, which is basically just lettuce with lemon juice squeezed on, a fresh lemon. So it's frustrating with her. The kids have parties at school. She can't participate. You know, pizza is a big thing. And one day she said, I just really wish I could have some pizza. I go out of my way and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this pizza from scratch. Gluten-free, vegan, everything, organic. Wouldn't you know? She had a severe flare-up from it. So I'm like, okay, can't be the vegan cheese, can't be the sauce, can't be the dough, the gluten-free. I'm like, you know what? It has to be something else going on internally. So all these things are supposedly organic. So I'm like, you know what? She literally cannot enjoy the things we do. I look at it as a blessing in disguise, ironically enough, because she won't have the traditional bad American diet. We just have to figure out what the key is. And we're going to continue to go at this. And I'm trusting God for the healing. There are so many people that I know will be in need of this. Even if it's just 1 or 2 people that can get blessed by this, that decide, you know what, I'm going to do it too. So the plan is, the next video is I'm showing you the meals that I'm preparing, because I'm going to include more for her. I'm already giving her a green juice. I make my boys drink it as well, with apple juice and spinach, because it's loaded with all the nutrients as well. A lot of people still believe that you're not getting enough protein if you don't eat meat. The animals that you're eating are the ones, they get the protein from the earth. So we just go directly to the source, the earth. And I'll share some other things along the way, but this whole process, I'm going to document it from beginning to end, because I know, and I'm trusting God. You know, Jesus said to us that we have not because we ask not. So guess what? He said to ask shall be given, seek you shall find, and knock the door will be open. That's the A, S, and the K. So I'm continually asking. I've gotten up off of my knees, crying in prayer, and now I'm going to run this thing out. It's in a marathon, and I'm not going to stop this race until my baby is healed. And in the process, a lot of other people can be blessed as well. I pray that this will be a forum, a community that's developed from this, because again, I know there are a lot of people out there that are suffering with this. I didn't mean to talk this long, but I just had to share from my heart while I had a moment. And I must say this, there are going to be people who do not believe in God. But let me explain something to you. Those of you who do, you'll get this. When I surrendered my life to God, let me be specific. When I surrendered my life to Jesus the Christ, praying to the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, my entire life changed. It was as if the scales fell from my eyes. My mind was renewed. My heart was changed, and I began to see life from a totally new perspective. When I became a woman, I put away the childish things. Do you hear what I'm saying? I knew that God was real. And when you know that you know that you know, nothing can take it away from you. When you have an experience and you know, that's for another time. God is real. I'm not praying to the universe. I'm praying to the one who created the universe. So I said all that to say that I trust, and feel like I'm being led to do this right now. So I have to move in obedience because I'm coming out of my comfort zone doing this. I'm not one who will be on a video. I'm a realtor who doesn't even make videos. Go figure. And I haven't been utilizing social media like that for my business. So I feel like this is the time. So I'm open to suggestions from the medical community, those holistic doctors, nutritionists, any ideas, anything that has worked for people that you've overcome. You may know of someone suffering, children, yourself, that are going through this right now. You have no answers. So I'm going to document this because I know in the end, I know in the end, healing will come. And my daughter has agreed, I got her to agree that she'll allow me sometimes to document her true response to things. And even when she's not feeling her greatest, what she's experiencing in the moment. So as a parent, as a mom, you guys know that you want nothing but the best for your children and to be whole and well. My boys, no issues whatsoever. And a lot of times we have to make arrangements to make sure she's okay with what we're doing when we do, have to do things outside of the home, going on trips or whatever. Always have the breathing machine, the nebulizer with us, and her inhaler for emergencies. Never had to use an EpiPen, thank God. But I'm like, enough is enough. She suffered a lot. She's a trooper. She's going through it. She's on the honor roll, maintain honor roll every single year. She's a violinist. She's in the beta club and reading bowl competition. So I'm really proud of her. But one of the things that stood out to me was when the doctor had said that, for her age and her size and weight, she was a little on the low side. And looking at pictures, I do see she's a little smaller than other classmates. But I never make that a point to her because I don't ever want her to have any self-image issues. So I don't point that out at all. All I say to her is that she's beautiful, she's powerful, whatever you want to do, you put your mind to, you can do it. So I don't ever want her to be self-conscious in that regard. I just want her to be well and whole and to wake up feeling okay most days. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. So this is video number 1. God bless you, and continue to pray for us as I pray for you.